Welcome to She Coaches Coaches. I'm your host, Candy Motzek, and I'm going to help you find the clarity, confidence, and courage to become the coach that you are meant to be. If you're a new coach, or if you've always wanted to be a life coach, then this is the place for you. We're going to talk all about mindset and strategies and how to, because step by step only works when you have the clarity, courage, and confidence to take action. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone at She Coaches Coaches. My name is Michelle Abraham, and I am bringing you guys an amazing interview with Candy Motzek. Hey, I think you guys might know her. I'm doing a podcast host takeover today. Hope you're cool with that. I'm going to interview Candy. Hey, Candy, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. I think this is so fun. This is a chance for people to see behind the scenes of my podcast. And I don't know, maybe you're going to ask questions that they wanted to ask and never got a chance. And so listen in. It's going to be fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. This is a great idea. And Candy, we're coming up on a big milestone of your podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it has been almost 2 full years that I've had a podcast. And I waited and waited and waited. And now I'm just looking at these episodes add up. And we're going to be on episode 100, which is like massive. I just never expected it somehow, and here it is.
And that's a huge congratulations. And I am so thrilled that you're at 100 episodes. And I just realized that I didn't really tell anybody who I am. And I want to share with them why I'm here interviewing you. I'm Michelle Abraham from Amplify You. And we actually helped Candy launch her podcast, which is why I'm so thrilled that she's at 100 episodes, because that just sings, it makes my heart sing when I see clients who had an idea and an inspiration and they took action on it and fell in love with the modality of podcasting like Candy did. And so when Candy asked me to come and share this episode with you guys, I was like, yes, I can't wait to do that. But Candy, I want you to be the star of this episode, so we get to know what it was like for you to start this show and what it's been like over the last couple of years. It's been really fun to watch your show just grow and become the success it has been. And so that's why I'm here, guys. Thanks for letting me jump in. And Candy, let's take it back to the beginning. Why did you start this show in the first place?
Oh, well, I loved podcasting. I loved listening to podcasts. And there was so many of my role models that were doing podcasts. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And then I finally got the courage up. And the only reason that this podcast actually exists is because of you, Michelle. So I bet I had been thinking of a podcast for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. I don't even know how long. And then I met you and I was like, that's it. This is the person that's going to help me launch. Yeah. So that's part of it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you reached out because we've had so much fun working with you. It's been really great to see your show come to fruition. I think you have such a passion and you're so dedicated to your listeners and your clients in your business, and you really care, and it shows in your podcast. And I can't say that for a lot. Not every podcast is like that. So what is it about coming to the microphone and sharing your brilliance with your audience that really makes you excited to do it week after week for the last few years?
Yeah, I think it's something about having a voice. And I think that this is common for coaches, is that we're so used to asking other people questions. Mm-hmm. We forget that we've got our own voice and we've got our own life experience and our own message that needs to be shared. And that all of the things that, I've learned over my life, all of my experience, this is the only way that you get to hear it. Normally, when I'm with my clients, I'm asking them questions about their life and the focus is on them. But for me, this is the place for me to have my own voice.
That's so powerful. And it's interesting how you set on a mission to start this podcast. You've kept it going for 2 years now. You're still in love with doing it. You still love doing it. And you share that little bit about you on each of the shows. Do you feel like that's really helped your business in any way?
Oh, totally. I have even lost count the number of clients that never knew me at all, happened to listen to a podcast episode and immediately grabbed their phone and DM'd me and said, hey, I want to chat with you. I want to see about working with you. It is by far the easiest way for me to connect with real people. And then they get that sense of who I am. Right. And so that's just been the best part, is the people that I've met, the clients that have come into my world. It's just been wonderful.
That's awesome. And as you know, I'm a listener of your podcast too. And I was listening to an episode about the motivational triad. And what I loved about it is you were actually sharing when you started off the whole episode by like, hey, here's a little bit about me. Here's what I do. Here's my morning routine. Here's how I get prepared in the morning here. And I'm an introvert. And for me, I've known you for a few years now. And I was surprised to hear that. I was like, hey, I didn't know that about Candy. That's awesome. I think you've done such a great job of making your listeners, I know I'm like, oh, now I can relate. I also feel the same way too. It's a great way to really relate. And so for your clients that you're working with who are starting a coaching business, is there some takeaways here that they can kind of also glean from what you're saying that would help them in their businesses too? I feel like there's a little bit of parallel going on here between starting a coaching business and starting a podcast.
Oh, most definitely. I think every time we've got a new beginning, like we've got a new project that we're working on, a new mode, we run into the same kind of hurdles over and over. So the places that I see specifically between starting a podcast and starting a coaching business is around procrastination, just people waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, or having wonderful ideas and making long lists of things that they could do, but they're waiting until it's perfect before they'll actually get started. So that's, for me, that is like the biggest piece right off the bat, is procrastination and then perfectionism. And that's how we hold ourselves back instead of just starting. Just start, right?
Yeah. And it's one of those things you said it a few minutes ago about the more you use your voice, the more confident you got, the more you like doing this podcasting thing. I feel like that would probably be the same way in your coaching business, right? It's like you get your training wheels off a little bit and then all of a sudden you can ride a bike.
Oh, yeah. Well, new coaches are always scared about, what am I going to ask? You know, like they're going to be on Zoom with a new client and they don't know what question to ask. And they're worried they're just going to choke, right? And they're just going to be like, I got stuck. I didn't know what to ask. And it's the same thing, right? When you're a new podcaster, you start and you don't know exactly what you're going to talk about, but you practice and you get better with time.
Yeah, that practice makes perfect. And it's interesting, the confidence that comes out of using that voice too. And I love that you're getting feedback from the audience. So audience, you guys are listening here. Awesome job reaching out to Candy, because I think that's one of the best things as a podcaster, when you hear from your audience. Sometimes you're speaking into a microphone and you're like, hello, is anyone listening? Anyone on the other side there? So it's so great when you get to hear from your audience. Now, it sounds like this last couple of years has been really fantastic, and I'm sure you've got some highlights. Do you have any couple of moments that were like your favorite?
Yeah. So a lot of times for me, it's the firsts, right? So recording episode number 1 was a huge favorite because it really meant that I was finally taking a stand. You know, I knew that this was the moment that all the thinking and planning was actually going to happen. So that was probably one of my first. And then more favorite moments is my first interview. Oftentimes I try to interview my clients. And so my very first client interview was completely different than what I had expected. My client was not an English as a first language person, but she was a highly regarded professional. And she came back with something that was so surprising that it just stuck with me. And she said that coaching with me to start her business, the biggest takeaway was her own self-acceptance. And, you know, for professionals, for high achievers, so often we're so busy doing all the stuff, but to actually accept ourselves and to have that place where we, respect our own needs, like anything is possible for you when you can do that. Yeah. So that's a couple of my favorite moments. Yeah.
Those are great. It's so awesome to see what people shine the other side of the microphone, right?
Yeah, totally.
So awesome. And I'm sure it couldn't have all been just sunshine and butterflies. I'm sure you've had some moments where you're like, oh, did that really happen?
Yeah.
Have you had any embarrassing moments or sticky moments in your podcasting experience so far?
Yeah. Oh gosh, lots of sticky moments. So sometimes it's hard to sound intelligent when your recording is set up in your bedroom closet. And so I had to move my husband's shirts and pants out of the way to put my microphone up, and, with the closet door closed so that the dog barking wouldn't get in the way. So that is like one of the things it's hard to sound like you really know what you're doing when you're standing in your bedroom closet. Let's just start.
Doesn't really help with the confidence.
And then another super uncomfortable moment for me was an interview that I did. This was with a person that I'd never really met before. And if you guys see the cover of this podcast, you guys know I'm BIPOC, right? I'm a BIPOC female from Canada. And this woman was just didn't understand the privilege of what it was like to be white and to be able-bodied, and just had no idea at all how privileged she was, and had no understanding of some of the challenges that so many people face in the world. And that was highly uncomfortable, because you can't teach somebody that. They either learn it through experience or they don't. And so that was really uncomfortable. And I must say that in the end, I chose not to air her views, because I just felt that it was going to be not reflective of my views and not reflective of the views of the audience, and also just showed a real lack of sensitivity to what so many of us face in the world.
My gosh. Yeah. That must have been a tough decision to make, to not air something after going through the effort of recording it. Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if she really understood or not, but that's the way it goes. My podcast, my rules, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Your podcast, your rules. And oh my gosh, I'm sure the amazing moments have outweighed those sticky moments.
Oh, for sure.
Shared.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's listening in your audience, who's maybe, hearing the parallels between starting a podcast and starting a coaching business? They're sitting on the fence. They're still thinking about getting going with a coaching business. And what would be some words of advice you'd like to share with them?
Oh, yeah. So many. This is a whole episode into itself.
Right.
But I think words, like if we're talking advice, what I would say is you may underestimate the amount of time and effort that it's going to take to create the business that you want. And I'm not saying that everybody wants to have a 6 or 7 figure coaching business, because I know lots of my clients don't. And I respect that, your business, your choice, your way, right? But it can still take more time and effort than you thought it might take. And so just know that if you feel called to be a coach, then stick with it. Commit to yourself, make that decision, work with somebody that's going to help you, but just know that it's worth it, even if it does take you longer.
Yeah, absolutely. All worth it in the end. Like the effort of doing 200 episodes out there is a lot of work, a lot of effort, but consistency paid off. And I think that's one of the things I know your audience probably appreciates most. You've been so consistent about putting out an episode week after week, and that consistency has paid off. And we've seen the amount of people listening to your show just grow and grow and grow. Anything else you'd like to share with your audience? Like, I feel like there's some maybe candy moments that you haven't shared with your audience on a podcast yet, or anything that you want to share with them.
Yeah. So I think that there's lots, right? Like, I'm just a real human recording a podcast. And sometimes I just don't know if this is my voice and something that I need to say, and I just don't know if it's going to speak to you. So just keep in mind that I'm either standing in my bedroom closet, just a human recording a message to you, or more than likely, I'm wearing my exercise clothes with my hair standing on end and no makeup while I'm recording them. And that it matters to me. I do this because I want to be in your ear and to help you and connect with you. And so that would be, that's at the heart of it. That's why we do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Candy, it is so amazing to see how much you really care about your audience. And so I think audience, if you're listening here, give Candy some love, reach out to her, tell her that you're listening, tell her what your favorite moment is, tell her what you want to see her talk more about, and any plans for the upcoming few episodes. Candy, has your business and your podcast, have they still been in alignment? Are they changing? Are they shifting? How are are things evolving over over the next little while?
Well, I think like all of us, we're always changing, we're always shifting. And even though I still talk about confidence and fear, because those are two of the biggest things, those are two of the biggest places that new coaches get in their own way. But more and more, I'm talking about people building the business that they want. You know, for you coaches that are listening, I want you to have your business in your way. And that's the way that plays off of your strengths, talking to your dream clients, the people that you would love to work with. And so that's a different approach. Lots of people want to show you how to do the step-by-step here, conveyor belt version of building a coaching business. I want this to be the most satisfying venture that you've ever done. And so for me, that's the difference, right? I want it to be totally customized to you. And that's going to make it more fun. It's going to be more you. You're going to have more success. And you're going to have so much more joy in the business that you're building too.
That's awesome. And just so much more fun when you're doing it. Building a business that really works for you. I know I've had the pleasure of being able to do that too. And I know you have too. I see the joy you have in doing this and coaching people and really making a difference in all their lives. And so She Coaches fans, I just want to thank you for letting me pop in and interview your host, Candy, today, because it's been so much fun to see Candy's show grow. You guys being big fans of hers, and I just have loved coming in and finding out a little bit more behind the scenes of what's happening in She's Coaches over the last few episodes. So thanks for having me join in today, Candy. It's been so much fun.
Oh, thanks so much. This has just been great.
Thanks again for listening today. Please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Also, I would love to hear from you. Did something that I say resonate? What else would you like to learn about? Click the link in the player and leave a comment on the post. This is going to give me great ideas for future episodes so I can help you best. Join me again next week for more coaching, support, and teaching to help you become the confident coach you are meant to be.